Hello students, welcome to Ashish Pulala classes. Today in the present lecture I am going to make discuss with you that what was the Indian National Congress and what was the Indian Council Act 1892 and what were the various provisions of Indian Council Act 1892. In the year 1885, in our India, the Indian National Congress was formed. In the first session of Indian National Congress, the Indian National Congress passed a resolution in which they expressed the grave dissatisfaction towards the existing system of government in India, and it made three demands from the British government. What were those demands of INC? Let us discuss one by one. In its first demand, the INC demanded reform in the legislative councils. That is, in the legislative councils, both at the central and provincial levels, reforms must be taken place. And expansion of legislative council should be made by admitting a considerable proportion of elected members, not nominated members. By admitting a considerable proportion of elected member, as well as there should be an increase in their power. So what was the first demand which was made by INC before the British Parliament? It demanded reform and expansion of legislative council by admitting a considerable proportion of elected member as well as increase in their power. They specifically says that they wanted the principle of election in the legislative council, not the system of nomination. They also wanted that the right to hold the discussion on financial matters should also be given to such elected members in the legislative council. But it is very important to note that this third demand, in which the right to hold the discussion on financial matters was demanded by INC, was not allowed by the British government. But the then Viceroy Lord Dufferin felt that the time had come to accept the demands of the Congress for reform seriously if they want to survive in India. So the then Viceroy Lord Dufferin appointed a committee, and that committee drew up some plans for the enlargement of the council and association of Indians with the work of the government. But here it is also very important to note that the Secretary of the State did not agree to the plans of direct elections. However, the Secretary of State agreed to the representation of Indians by way of indirect elections. So they enact the Indian Council Act 1892. And what was the important provisions of Indian Council Act 1892? Let us discuss one by one. First of all, this act increased the number of additional non-official members in the legislative councils as follows. First of all, in Central Legislative Council, the number of non-official members were increased from 10 to 16. In Bengal, this was increased to 20. In Madras, it was increased to 20. In Bombay, it was increased to 8. In North, now it is Lucknow, it was increased to 15 members. And in northwestern provinces, it was increased to 15 members. Under this act, the non-official members were also given the right to ask questions on the budget. That means now under the present act, the non-official members in Legislative Council were entitled to ask questions on the budget. But in the previous act, that is Indian Council Act 1861, the non-official members were barred from the right to ask question on the budget. The non-official member were also given the right to ask questions on those matters which are of public interest. But before asking these questions on matters of public interest, those non-official members had to give notice of 6 days for it. So apart from these two types of questions, they were not entitled to ask any supplementary questions in the legislative council. So I want to repeat, under this act, the non-official member were given the right to ask questions on the budget or on matters of public interest, but they had to give notice of 6 days for it. But in this act also, the non-official members cannot ask these supplementary questions. Under this present act, the president of council had given the power that he can disallow any question of non-official member, and while disallowing this question, he need not to give any reason. So this was very unjustification with the non-official member under this act as well. I want to repeat, the president of the council had the power to disallow any question without giving any reason. Under this act, the principle of representation was also initiated. The district boards, the universities, municipalities, chamber of commerce and Jamindar were authorized to recommend their recommended members in the provincial councils. So here we are watching that how this act gave first time the principle of representation in the legislative councils. The legislative council were empowered to make new laws, and they were also empowered to repeal the old laws, but with the permission of the Viceroy of India. After passing this act, some results were taken place. Let us discuss what were those main results of this act. This act was the first step taken by the British Parliament towards a representative form of government in India, in which a right of representation was given to almost every sector in the society. Under this act, the number of Indian members was increased in the legislature as well. But there were also some limitations of the act. What were those limitations? Let us discuss one by one. Although the system of election was introduced by this act, but the system of election which was introduced by this act was defective system. Why it was so? Because it did not give the representation to the people in the real sense. Certain classes of people were over-represented in the legislative council, while the other classes of people had no representation at all. If we want to take the example, then in Bombay Council, 6 seats were allotted to the European merchants, but for Indian merchants, no seat was allotted. The power of legislative councils were very limited because unlimited power were given to the Viceroy of India. Moreover, the number of non-official members was very small in comparison to official members in the Legislative Council. So these were some limitations of this act as well. So student, today in the present lecture, we had successfully completed the Indian Council Act 1892. Thank you very much.